my last base I was based at before going overseas.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was where you first encountered the B-26?
Actually, probably yes.
And you were at Barksdale going through RTU, replacement training unit, or?
This is right, and crazy enough, I was there for about 5 months. I was there longer than theoretically we were supposed to be there, remaining in training before we went overseas, and had an incident where my wife went with me to Barksdale Field, and unknown to me on the day, she went down to the Adjutant General's office and said that she was unhappy with our having to live in town and come out to the air base each day, and wondered if there was any possibility to get housing on the field. And we were moved into a beautiful French colonial home right on the field, about a block from the officers' club. And when I left, a general moved into the house that I moved out of, so we thought we'd had very nice quarters there on the field.
Okay, so you joined the 323rd as a replacement crew.
That's correct.
Now you were bombardier navigator.
I was a bombardier navigator, both.
Did you stay with the crew that you went over with, though?
I stayed with my original crew until around my 14th mission, as I recall, roughly around there. Then I was put in a lead plane for almost all of the rest of my missions. And at that time, we were normally a squadron of 36 bombers. We're carrying only 3 bomb sites, maybe the lead high flight plane and 2 others in case those planes were knocked out. But usually the squadron, except for specific different targets, normally speaking, the rest of the planes dropped on the lead plane's bombs, and I normally was working with Norden bomb sites. I have worked with Sperry bomb sites, but I was normally working with Norden bomb sites.
And you were taken from your original crew, and were you put then with one specific crew, or did you fly with different crews?
It would be different crews. It'd be because it might be with the squadron commander that was leading the squadron, or another person leading the squadron, so it was different pilots that I was assigned to the crew as a lead bombardier navigator.
Was this because it was a scarcity of bombardiers within the group?
Well, I suspect that there probably was, to a degree. Yes, although I knew a number of other bombardiers that were in our bomb group, but I think still they had a certain scarcity of perhaps experienced, competent bombardiers.
Okay. Now, you talked about Lord Ho-Ho. You're the first one that's talked about that.
Oh, is that right?
There was a proliferation of broadcasts from Germany that gave information that seemed that they should not have, besides your name?
I think, of course, I was never in the Pacific Theater, but we've heard a lot about Tokyo Rose. It was on Radio Japan and all. But Lord Haw-Haw was a turncoat Britisher, as I understand it. But he was heard frequently and practically daily on Radio Berlin, and Radio Berlin, among other programs they would have, would be real good American music, jazz, just American music programs trying to get the attention of Americans, of course, American troops, ground and air, and even probably Navy. But then they would have their propaganda sidelights and all, and utter all sorts of things intended to scare, persuade, or tell you that the Americans and the British are not going to get anywhere, and that they're in trouble, and they would falsify lots and lots of information that was aimed toward our troops. And but among other things is when they issued this. I'll never know why they issued the 30-day threat and never completely followed it up, but I would presume that they were incapable of following it up. But nevertheless, they had quite a few of our security people concerned that there might be, well, of course they said over radio, and we have German spies that are just right in your own squadron stationed there with you. We did not believe that, but they had access to some information about what was going on, as any probably German spies would have. But to our knowledge, we never had any stationed actually within our air base, to our knowledge.
But they played American music, so it was a preferred station for Americans to listen to.
That's right, and get their attention, and then dish out their propaganda.
Now you say on this mission, where you saw this camouflage crane, that you had binoculars. Was it common that you carried binoculars with you?
I'm not sure about that. I was allowed to carry binoculars, and I think I asked for an issue of binoculars and was given a pair, but I'm not sure whether lots of others carried binoculars or not. But I had to turn them back in when I was through my missions.
But you did carry binoculars?
I carried binoculars, yes, sir.
Now you were in the 323rd. Where did you ride in the mission?
Where did I ride? I rode.
In an airplane.
Even though I had my navigation, I rode up in the nose, where a bombardier normally rides.
Would anyone be up there with you? I mean, you served the dual role, bombardier navigator?
Yes. No one else would be normally up there. At times, I could go back, except right when we were over enemy territory, I could go back to a station near the waist gunner or navigation area, but I rarely did.